Ford's annual look at trends and the future. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from Ford is Senior Trends and Futuring Manager Miguel Mancilla. Hi, Miguel.
Hey, Fred, thank you so much for having me in your podcast. This is really exciting.
A pleasure. For those who wonder what this report is all about, give us some background about what it is and why Ford is putting this out.
Yeah. So this report is not new. It has been published for 12 years now. Um, Back in those times, it was a physical book that we produced and we shared with employees. We have always talked about what's going on in society all over. But around COVID times back in 2020, we switched from a physical book to a website that is now publicly accessible. And you can find it at fortrends.com. And it has a lot of a really broad range of topics, ranging from social, political, economic, and it helps. The way we use it internally is to help organizations make their strategies more forward-looking, make sure that we are focusing on what could happen and they are robust and strengthen them towards the future. But people can easily access a lot of information. There are a lot of details, and we can organize them by generational cohort. So Gen X, Boomers, Millennials. We can also organize the information by countries. So you can kind of compare what different people in different countries are talking about. And all this information comes from a survey that we launched earlier in the year to 16 countries and 16,000 people. So we have a really good representation of what people are thinking globally.
Very interesting. So for this report, you're finding that a notable shift is taking place in how many of us want to live our lives. Tell us what you found with the trend.
Yeah, so this year we have 6 different topics, and considering your podcast, we have 2 of them very closely related to AI. But we also look at more social aspects, like we see how there's continuous uncertainty in the world, and people are still feeling a lot of anxiety. At least once a week, people report feel anxiety globally, and as a result of that, people are taking care of themselves. They are looking more towards themselves and trying to cut out toxic relationships. And there's a lot of effort in terms of work-life balance, right? One of the really interesting responses that we got this year was that more than half of the workforce globally would accept a 20% pay cut in order to get a better quality of life. So that was like completely surprising for us. We knew that the 20% pay cut would be like a steep thing to consider, but 52% of respondents claiming that they would take that. It's like completely surprising and really in line with this idea of prioritizing balance the personal life and their advancement at work. Now, in terms of AI, which obviously is like everywhere right now, we have kind of 2 different stories. One of them is more related to, on one side, 60% of people believe that artificial intelligence will become an essential part of our lives by 2035. Half of adults, 55%, will think that AI will be stronger than the human mind in just 10 years. But on the other hand, we have like pessimistic feelings about it. Like we asked about AI back in 2019, and back then, half of the people were afraid of AI, and now we have an 11% increase. So people are more afraid of AI nowadays. And back then, we had like also half of the people we interviewed thought that they didn't really understand, and that has grown 6% from 2019. So the more common it becomes, the more we believe that is not understood. Something interesting that caught my attention this year was 68% of people are concerned that AI will create massive job losses, but only 39% believe that it's going to impact them. So we believe it's going to be an effect for others, but we're safe. Now, on their hand, we have the trust aspect of AI. I personally love AI. I'm really excited about that. But what I'm sharing is what people believe, right? And in terms of trust, AI and trust are a complex situation. Last year, in our last report, we showcased how there was a really steep decline in trust for many institutions, political, government, economic, etc. And AI makes it just more challenging. 78% of people globally agree that as society, we no longer know what is true and what is false. And 2 out of 3 believe that it's really difficult to differentiate what is real and what is fake in the news. So this situation is getting more challenging. And actually, this week I read that the Merriam-Webster dictionary declared the word authentic their word of the year. And that's mainly because AI also has some identity and some social media tie-ins. So a lot of things going on and different feelings towards AI.
Right, and that your findings about people wondering what is true, what isn't true, that's a lot to ponder, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think that we were expecting to see something like that because it just makes it so easy to. I mean, you have seen multiple examples of media outlets showcasing articles that are generated right by AI. And recently there was another news where a big sports organization was creating profiles of authors that were generated. It's challenging. But in addition to AI, we always talk about sustainability. In every report, we focus a lot on asking about sustainability and how it matches on automotive and mobility. And we also ask about family. In terms of family, there has also been, we have noticed drastic changes. The way the family structures are being perceived continue to transform. Right now, we see 60%, 62% of people think that getting married is not necessary to have a full family, and also more than half, 57%, believe that having children is no longer necessary. So that's where all the pets come in, right?
I saw that. I saw
shift.
that more people would be planning for pets than children.
Yeah. So those shifts are really interesting for us, and we track them over time. And those inform. I think that it is not just interesting information to share with people, but we also use that for our own internal strategy. We help teams with the strategy. When I mentioned the sustainability and mobility, that's something that we consider a lot, right? So on one side, people are globally agreeing that there's urgency to do something to help avoid climate change, right? 84% globally agree that it's important to actively fight climate change. And 70% are worried that climate change will affect them personally. So there's this feeling of we need to do something.
Yeah, but I saw in your materials that 47% believe others should drive electric vehicles, EVs, to help fight climate change, but only 4% of them do.
That is correct. That's kind of these. It's related to this other result that we have. 64% of adults will only embrace sustainable initiatives if the inconvenience is small, right? So I will do something about it, but if it's not affecting me a lot. So there are some challenges in terms of adoption for EV. There's also for hybrid vehicles. 35% of people believe others should drive hybrid vehicles to help climate change, and only 88% of them do. So there's still a lot of catching up to do.
That's really interesting. Again, people can find out more about all of this at your website, fordtrends.com. Miguel Mancilla, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you very much, Fred. Have a great day.